Hello and welcome to Ham Nation, episode 599 for May 21st, 2025. And hello, everybody. I'm Josh KI6NAZ. Thanks for coming on back out here to Ham Nation. We're on a bit of a Hamvention hangover this week. So we're just going to be some of the hosts hanging out, having some fun, and let's kick that off right now. Hosts, how are we doing this wonderful evening?
Hi.
Hi.
I
Hello.
don't know. What have you heard?
Well, we'll get to you in a second, Don, and you can catch us all up. Gordo, how are you doing this week?
All is well, and we look forward to seeing everybody at a convention week after next, and we'll talk about that soon.
Yep, very good. And Don, how are you?
I'm good. I enjoyed my day off today and didn't do anything. I played around with a little bit of FT8 today, made some contacts and some POTA contacts, which was fun. Did not get to go to Dayton, but I do have this swanky lanyard, which I saw a whole lot of these actually on the various YouTube feeds from Dayton, from the various ham radio YouTubers. It was good to see a lot of these being sold that the adventure crew, the scouts over there do. So yeah, great. Hope they raised a whole lot of money for their activities this week. Don't have anything from Dr. Scove. She went to Dayton as well, and so she's still kind of recovering and getting caught up from being there. So we'll catch up with her next time.
Very good. And speaking of swag, I brought out my whole table of stuff, which I'll be sharing later on the show.
Cool.
So stick around for that. And Amanda, how are you? Wonderful little pink shirt you got going on with the plaid. I like that. Good look for the show. How you doing?
Oh, you know me. I love my pink.
Yep.
I'm doing fantastic. Bummed that I didn't get to go to Hamvention, but it was really fun. They're doing such a good job of like streaming, and all of you YouTubers, Josh, are just showing so much content. We all appreciate it here, us homebound people. Anyhow, we're also getting ready to go camping for the long weekend. Jeff and I are. So we're packing up the camper. Let's see, what do we got for tonight? Well, basically, I'm bringing ham it or can it, and we're gonna have a lot of discussion about some knickknacks and doohickeys. So
very good.
I love doohickeys.
We love them.
Just to help everybody out, we're going to answer your questions and just here for a good time. So stay tuned. And it's episode 599. Do you know what that means? In 2 weeks is 600.
Wow.
So we're going to have a spectacular show coming up in 2 weeks. I just have to let everyone know that I've gotten some people booked and some surprises, and we won't tell everything tonight, but stay tuned in 2 weeks as well. Okay, yep. That's my spiel. Let's go back over to Gordo.
All right. Thanks, Amanda. And yeah, we'll roll out everything for the 600th. Weekend after next, May 30, 31, and June 1, Seaside, Oregon. I hope to see you there. That is CPAC. This is a long-running convention, American Radio Relay League's Northwestern Division Convention. All of the league brass will certainly be there or close by. And the 3-day convention is right along the blue Pacific Ocean. So it's a great time to get fresh air, and hope to meet up with you at CPAC weekend after next. Well, let's now talk about this coming weekend. This coming weekend is a good opportunity to get out there and start working those radios, dust them off. And I especially enjoy those that head for the hills or head for the rivers and valleys to operate POTA, Parks on the Air. So let's jump into POTA and see what we have here. Well, the POTA location that we chose for this operation was the Merced River. That's near Briceburg, California. And that is POTA US-0201, about 30 miles south of the Yosemite entrance. And it's a wonderful spot because there's, as you can see, hardly nobody there. In fact, when we operated, there was no one there, but the lead operator, Tracy and Jody. Tracy, WM6T, Jody, WA6JL. These operators know what it's like to set up a POTA station and make some fun contacts all over the country. And Tracy's favorite band is QRP on 20 meters, and he was ready to make things happen when he's out there on the POTA site. So, Tracy and Jody, thank you for taking us along. First of all, safety. For those of you that are going to be operating this coming weekend, be thinking about anything that you've got to be careful that could emit sparks, that could cause a brush fire. So notice what Tracy and Jody brought, and that is sledgehammers that are not of metal and stakes that are not of metal to have sparks. And they get everything, including the radio, in this handy dandy little case that Tracy carries along. Now, he calls this his lap board. This is a homebrew board where everything is either magnetic or adheres to special spots on the board so he can put it on his lap and operate POTA, absolutely portable. And that's a real favorite. Well, first thing is to get the mast in place. And again, whenever we're working in a park, you want to make sure that you don't dislodge or carve anything that's going to leave a hole that would show that it must have been a ham there or someone. So we made sure that we found just the right spot. And the mast is a carbon 6 from soda beams. And this mast, that's the base of it there, goes up 20 feet. It's telescopic, and it is a material that is non-conductive. And notice we're right next to a nice flowing Merced River to give us a good ground plane. Well, we get everything going on the mast, and next we need to put up the feed point, and he's got a PAC-TENA, PACKTENNA. It's got a 4-to-1 ballon, and it's set for either 20 or 40 meters by a little clip on the elements, the wire elements. And the PAC-TENA is a real favorite because different versions of it for POTA operation could be in-fed half-wave, or it could be a random wire that is in fed, but it'll take a lot of different ways and get a good signal out on either the 20 or the 40-meter band if that's the one that you have. Now, here is his feed point, and the feed point is going to be where he's going to get that PAC antenna going. Now, the antenna mast itself is soda beams. That's where the carbon 6 comes from. But the PAC-TENA comes from PAC-TENA with a 4-to-1 ballon. And there you see it all ready to roll. And it comes pretty much all assembled. So it's run the wires out and get on the air. There's a 21 foot carbon 6 soda beam. Make that from soda beams, and it's that vertical antenna, which is great for parks on the air. All right, he's already got one side of the wire antenna, and we're going to be operating on 20 meters. So each side is about 16.5 feet long. And now he's doing the other one. And the first one was a little tough to maneuver around the rock. So he's got a nice sandy spot right next to the Merced River that can get him on the air. And of course, you have to have a mascot. And there's Brady's mascot, Floppy, that is there making sure that we left everything or leaving everything as we get going. I asked Tracy, I said, what's going to be about a half hour to set this up? He says, no, maybe more like 5 to 10 minutes. Well, we've got 5 minutes out of the way. Can he put everything together in 5 more minutes? Now, Tracy's real familiar with a KX2 from Ellicraft. He's got a KH1 for CW. He's got a K3, a K4. He's got the works. So he's ready to go, this time with the K2. And the K2, he's ordered from GEM Products, side panels, and a cover on the back for mounting it. And he uses the ram mount to be able to get everything affixed to his operating board. And there he is getting ready to put that in place. And everything just snaps together. And yep, on minute 5, he is doing the final touches. And when you take a look at his POTA operation, he's got it right there. You can't quite see his logbook, but knowing Tracy, he's got it probably in his back pocket. That blue is the BioInno, I think that's the 12 amp hour battery, but it's amazing how long these bioinno batteries will play without the voltage decaying much below 13.2. They just keep right on going and they really hold their voltage. Now, the key he's using is from American Morris, and the key is magnetically affixed to, not the magnet on the key, but affixed to his operating board, and it goes right into place. So if you have someone that is right-handed, that can easily be swapped around, so you're ready to go that way. He's ready for everything. So the lap board keeps him on the air, and there he is, made a contact on minute 10 with a station up in Oregon, I believe, but he worked every single station that he could hear. And for POTA operators, the best part of it is you're in a portion of the band where everybody else is also operating at flea power levels in the middle of nowhere. And that makes it exciting to be able to make POTA contacts with some operating skills. And as he's operating, you can see Jody back there making sure that everything is going smooth as can be. And the Merced River is a great place if ever you decide going to Yosemite that you may want to do a little bit of POTA operation. So we encourage all of you to be thinking about operating this weekend POTA. Now, a sad note, Cheryl Russell was one of our very first guests and operators for Ham Nation back in the days of Bob Heil and so on. Unfortunately, she is a silent key. So our hearts go out to David, K9 LPK, for the loss of his wife, Cheryl. So we'll certainly miss her. She always did a great job for Ham Nation when we first started the show many years ago. All right. Well, good news. We'll see you a week after next up in Seaside, Oregon. Good news. We'll hear you on the air, hopefully operating POTA, and have fun with CW because that's the mode. And Tracy and Jody will tell you that get through loud and clear. So, Amanda, that's the story for this weekend coming up. And Memorial Day weekend is always a good opportunity to get out there and exercise your radio equipment and get some fresh air
Oh,
as
it
well.
sure is. Hey, Gordo, a couple questions. The lap board that Tracy was using, did he purchase that somewhere? Or is it just kind of a homebrew setup?
It is an extended, plain old writing board that has a clip on it. They call them clipboards, and that's what he uses for his main board base. Nice and lightweight, and he's ready to. He removed the clip part of it, added more gadgets of his own to keep everything in place.
Well, it certainly looked like it. A couple of other comments from Brett. It looks like Tracy is an Eleva collector. Ha ha ha. And what was his? Oh, Brett had another question. What was that keyer that Tracy uses?
And say again your question.
What was the CW keyer that Tracy was using?
Oh, the CW keyer was built into the Ellie Craft, so built-in keyer.
No, yeah,
Oh,
the paddle. I
oh,
think the
the
paddle.
paddle.
Oh,
I'm
the
sorry.
paddle itself was from American Morse, and he says that one takes a licking and keeps on kicking. So it's a good sturdy key when he's out in the boondocks.
Fantastic. Well, did you get on the air too, Gordo?
I plan to be.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. And this is a good weekend to go out there. Once again, I'm going to be out there. We're going to be doing our POTA too. I'm so excited. I can't even remember what it is, but we're going to be in Pike National Forest. So
I do have a question I'll answer. I'll go ahead and take it if I can.
go.
So there was a question about, can this be incorporated into a car? So the answer to that is, yeah. If you want to do amateur radio from a car and make it a POTA activation, you can. You just have to be within the park. So that's one of the fun things about POTA is you can be totally in your car and just use a ham stick on your vehicle. And yes, you can absolutely do that. Doesn't matter if it's 100 watts, 1,300 watts or 5 watts. You can do parks on the air from wherever you want, so long as you're in the park space. That's the big deal. So.
More than 1 watt.
No more than 1 watt. Flea power. That's right.
That's a big difference between soda and POTA, whereas soda, you have to like hike in the last 100 feet or something like that.
You
and
have to get to the activation under your own power. It could just be
Yeah,
feet.
okay.
It doesn't have to be 100 feet per se.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go. Big difference there. All right. Any other questions, Josh, before we move on?
Nope.
Okay. I think we're going to hear a word from ICOM.
Ham radio fans, mark your calendars. Come see the latest gear, get hands-on with ICOM's most popular radios, and connect with the team behind the tech. Whether you're a seasoned operator or just getting started, ICOM has something for everyone. Stop by the ICOM booth and experience the innovation that keeps you on the air. See you at Hamvention. Introducing ICOM's IC7760, the pinnacle of base station excellence for amateur radio enthusiasts. Designed to deliver unmatched performance, the IC7760 features state-of-the-art technology, exceptional RF clarity, and an intuitive interface, all housed in a sleek and durable design. The base station features a separate remote control head and RF deck, providing excellent flexibility for installation. Place the RF deck closer to the antenna feed point, freeing up space on your desk. You can also connect the control head to the RF deck through your home network, enabling remote operation from anywhere in your home without need for a PC. Pair the IC7760 with a powerful ICPW2 linear amplifier and take your contesting experience to the next level. The ICPW2 seamlessly integrates with the IC7760, delivering a massive power boost and enabling enhanced long-distance communications with DPD, digital pre-distortion, and a built-in 2x6 automatic antenna selector for SO2R single operator 2 radios. Together, they define what's possible in amateur radio, setting a new standard for global connectivity and reliability. For more information about all of ICOM's great amateur radios, visit icomamerica.com/amateur.
And a huge thank you to ICOM America for sponsoring Ham Nation. We truly appreciate it. And of course, you know, those of us watching, that we give away 3 swag packs every time we are live. And then at the end of the month, ICOM gives away a radio. Let's see what we're giving away in the month of June. Ooh, big month. It's going to be an IC52A. So make sure you take the link at the very top of the website here. To enter now. Click that enter now button and you will be entered with your call sign, provide your email, that kind of thing, and you'll be entered to get a swag pack. And then at the end of the month, they'll pull the names of all the winners for the year that have won a swag pack, and you could win a radio. So who won swag packs this week? Jerry B, N80, OWV, thank you. Stephen W, KR4AXK, and Anthony W, KL5HZ. So congratulations to the winners of the swag packs, and make sure you tune in a couple of weeks or anytime we're live, because we're going to be giving a radio soon. So come check that out. Don, over to you for, well, everything you got going on, but wait to hear the news as well.
Yeah, we've got the news, but Gordon talking about the brief mention of the SK. So sorry to hear that in the earlier days of Ham Nation. It was May 24th, 2011 that Ham Nation debuted. So we're in that, 14 years ago. Can you believe that? Wow. I cannot believe that this show's been going for 14 years. And I also unbelievable is that Bob Heil is no longer with us on this planet, unfortunately, but he's always here in spirit, and we carry on in his footsteps, much the same way that the amateur radio Newsline folks do, in the footsteps of the great late Bill Pasternak. So let's go ahead and get the news of the week from those fine folks. From Amateur Radio Newsline report number 2481, this is Ham Nation headlines for Wednesday, May 21st, 2025. Marking 100 years of representing member countries around the world, coordinating frequencies and other concerns, the International Amateur Radio Union enters its second century with one big change on its mind.
Imagine for a moment an IARU without separate entities known as Region 1, 2 and Region 3. Imagine a total restructuring that would create a single global entity, erasing the discrete regions separated by oceans, languages and cultures. The IARU has announced it is considering just that and has released a proposal to unite the independent regions as one, combined with the International Secretariat to streamline decision-making, to better coordinate shared concerns and to bolster membership in regions where it is declining. The proposal, PDF, outlines a number of areas where the currently independent regional organisations struggle. Problem areas include declining membership, duplication of resources, lack of coordination and other various inefficiencies. This overwhelming change would not happen overnight, of course. The IARU will be asking member societies to vote after they have reviewed the consultation on restructuring, which is available on the IARU website. Any changes that are approved would not take place before next year. This is Graham Kemp, VK4BB.
If you were lucky enough to work HV5PUL in Rome recently, you were part of this small university-based station's celebration that a new pope had been elected.
2 days after the conclave of cardinals had elected Pope Leo XIV, amateur radio station HV5PUL, the Pontifical Lateran University, was on the air in the Vatican city-state in the heart of Rome, celebrating. The station's administrator, Luca della Giovampaola, IW0DJB, reported that traffic was lively on 20 metres SSB and 17 metres FT8. He said that the simple 100-watt station logged an estimated 400 contacts in 4 hours. Propagation was challenging, and so, with the exception of one Japanese station, all the contacts were within Europe. It's not often a new pope is chosen, nor that HV5PUL is put on the air. Luca said the call sign is active mainly on Saturdays in connection with special occasions such as the opening day of the university's academic year and, of course, the election of a new pope. This is Jeremy Boot, G4NJH.
The FCC's recent request for suggestions about eliminating or modifying any and all regulations has become an opportunity for the ARRL to renew some of its recent proposals to the regulator.
The ARRL has renewed an earlier plea that the FCC grant HF privileges to technician class radio amateurs. The revival of this proposed change is prominent on a long list the league has drawn up for the commission, responding to the federal government's goal to eliminate certain FCC regulations or guidelines. The league is asking that technicians gain phone privileges on 80 meters, 40 meters, and 15 meters, along with RTTY and digital privileges. This is not the only previous petition the league is pressing for as part of the commission's announced changes. This FCC initiative was announced in its further notice of proposed rulemaking in 2023. The FCC initiative was contained in its docket number 25-133, which has been referred to as the Delete, Delete, Delete docket. This is Andy Morrison, K9AWM.
A reminder, the nominating period for the 2025 Bill Pasternak WA6 ITF Amateur Radio Newsline Young Ham of the Year Award closes on Saturday, May 31st at midnight Eastern Time. Since 1986, we've honored the best young people in amateur radio for their efforts in expanding the state-of-the-art of the service and using ham radio to make the world a better place. The presentation will take place Saturday, August 16th at the Huntsville Hamfest in Huntsville, Alabama. You can find more information and the nomination form on our website, arnewsline.org, under the Awards tab. And that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline, your independent source for amateur radio news since 1976 at arnewsline.org. With Graham Kemp, VK4BB, Jeremy Boot, G4NJH, Andy Morrison, K9AWM, Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news team across the globe, I'm Don Wilbanks, AE5DW. 7-3, we'll see you next time here on Ham Nation. And another good report from the Newsline crew. And don't forget, now that is 10 days left in the nominating period for this year's Bill Pasternak WA6 ITF Memorial Young Ham of the Year Award. arnewsline.org under the Awards tab. That's where you can find the nominating form. You need to get that emailed to us with all of the support documentation by midnight Eastern on May 31st. That is 10 days from tonight. So be sure, if you know of a deserving young radio amateur, under the age of 18 or 18 or under, actually, I believe it is. Get them to us because we certainly want to meet them and perhaps award them with the Young Ham of the Year award. Nothing from Dr. Scove tonight. She's still playing catch up from her little trip to Dayton. And yeah, a little bit of a decompression when you go out there. So I totally understand. We'll catch up with her next time. And Josh, Amanda, that's all I have for right now.
Well, thank you. I was
Yeah.
just recalling some of the Young Ham of the Years in the past. And I was just thinking out loud, or thinking to myself, now I'm talking out loud about it, about some that have remained in amateur radio that I know of. Some, well, like one, Brian Milishowski, I can't remember when he won, but he was all
back in the 90s, I think. Yeah.
He moved all the way up to like a vice director, a vice president, a second president. I don't know what it is in the ARRL. I should know the chain of command, but you know, right underneath the president level
he was up
of
there.
ARRL. And I was trying to think of some others. There's Audrey. She now runs the club at Georgia University.
It's hard to keep up with them.
I know, but it's just so fun to know that they have remained in amateur radio. I think that's the best thing about it. So anyhow, and along with that, the youth camp is coming up in June here in Denver, and Neil and I are going to talk about that this evening or tomorrow morning, one of the two. And I'm so excited to get involved and go see the kiddos.
Good.
So,
That's gonna be fun.
Neil does a great job with that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a calling that he does. It is an absolute calling that he and Julie are doing there. So yeah,
I know, and he aims to serve. So and he's awesome. And
did you see the recording of Neil's acceptance speech for the Amateur of the Year at Dayton on YouTube?
Didn't know. I'll go back and watch it.
Oh man, he pulls out of his jacket pocket. He says, "I have my original Dayton ticket from 1977."
It's so cute.
From my first Hamvention, and it was an April date because they did it in April back then. He said, I was 6, and he was tearing up as he was talking about this. His mother kept it in a scrapbook, and so his mother, I believe, has passed. Well, no, his dad has. I think his mother may still be alive, but I do believe his dad has passed. But nonetheless, and he's tearing up because he says, I was here to sign autographs on QSL cards for being the youngest ham in the world, and he was at the Kenwood booth doing that back in 1977, and he has the ticket.
That's so amazing.
Very, very moving. I'm
cool.
so proud of him and so proud to be his friend.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, he's
well,
a great guy.
Speaking of Dayton, Josh is also in Dayton, and he's going to show some toys he might have picked up. And,
you wanna
and you're
tap
gonna
into the
yeah,
loot? Okay.
And price. Including, it depends on if Leia is watching, on if you want to include prices.
Yeah. So I've got a couple of things, and I've also got websites to show some backup here because something interesting happened at Hamvention, something that I did not expect. And when it happened, it caused me to spend a lot more money. So let me show you what all that is. So here's my swag, and this includes things that people handed me, and obviously you got some wonderful patches from the Dayton Boy Scout, now Scouting America community. I got a wonderful little tea towel from Jonathan with my call sign on it. Apparently they got a new embroidery machine, and he's like, I got to make something for Josh. So there's that. But one of the major reasons I went to, I was going to go to Hamvention anyway, but the thing that I knew I was going to buy was this Morse code key, because the creator of these keys had already contacted me, and he was making me a custom kind of unit here. So I'll show you what this looks like. It is the modern Morse key, but you can see that it's got my logo on it, and it was laser etched onto it, and it's really, really nice. And so I do have his website. I'll pull it up really quick there, and I'll drop that in the chat. They're just amazing keys. Very well liked by many CW operators, and they have just an insane amount of magnets in the bottom. And there you go. I dropped the link for that. But you can take a hunk of metal of any kind like this, and it just will stay right on there, and you can key away to your heart's content, right? So this was my purchase that I was going to make when I was at Hamvention this year. But an interesting thing happened, and you might have already saw it from underneath my my key. Palm Radio was actually at Hamvention this year, and if for those watching, hold on, let me show you. Sorry about that. So Palm Radio is the developer of Morse code paddles, and they basically disappeared in 2017. And for those that are not familiar with it, this is the mini paddle. I own this, and it kind of stows. It's one of the first keys that would stow away like that. And this is the mini sized, right? Now, they absolutely disappeared in 2017. Unfortunately, a number of people that were involved with it and their spouses had become silent keys or had come out of the hobby in some way. And so the company kind of just disappeared. Now, for reference, here's another website I have to show you. This is what that key is selling for that I just showed you on eBay right now.
Holy moly.
Yeah. So they were really, really popular. And there was a number of people that were just like very sad that they disappeared. Well, they didn't really disappear. They still exist. And in fact, they were there this last weekend. So I was able to pick up a code cube, which this is such a cool little device. It's just this kind of nondescript little cube, right? And what it does is you take the mini paddle and it slides into the back like that. And then it functions as a keyer. So that conversation earlier, that Amanda mentioned keyer, some older CW radios can't actually run iambics, but with this device you can. But it also makes it a code oscillator for practicing Morse code. But what's really cool is that it has built-in memory keying as well. So if I hold down this button and hit the DAW at the same time, it'll do CQ for you, or it'll do a series of all kinds of different things that you want it to based off of some simple programming. And so I was like, wow, okay, I've wanted one of these for a long time to go along with my mini paddle. So there was that. So great, very excited. But then he had something else that I had never ever seen before. And just for reference, these devices were going for like $100. They were going for the retail price of these keys. He had something I had not seen ever, never, ever, so I ended up having to buy one of these as well. So this is the Pico paddle version of the mini paddle, and it came in a colorway that has never been done before. Look at where is it? So look how small this is, first of all. That's the Pico paddle in comparison to the mini paddle. But clear with the green legs there is just super, super cool. And so, yeah, this was $120, and so I had to buy that as well because, like, you're never going to see that. I don't even know if they're in production. Yeah. So I had to get it. I had to get it. So sorry, honey, if you're watching. I went a little ham this weekend, as they say. That's right. As far as radios are concerned, Jonathan was there, the maker of the CFT1, and that is KM4CFT. He's the same gentleman who gave me that tea towel, so thank you very much. He had his radio kit. I happened to get serial number 236, and so this is a bit of a builder. I will have to build this as well, but I'll do that on a video, and so I'm excited to do that. I did a review of this not too long ago, and that was a unit that actually went around to lots of different amateur radio, ham radio YouTubers, and so I now have my own, which is great. Along with that, I got a leg strap from Jonathan. It was pretty cheap, so I had to just get that as well. DX Engineering was pretty nice, and they threw over a choke. So they're starting to make these chokes, and they said, "Hey, take this out into the field and see how you like it." So I did get that. Joe Eisenberg actually bumped into me, and he has these couple little devices here for holding, little piece of wire for soldering and straightening out ICs. So these are little 3D prints that he gave. Yeah, it's pretty cool on that one. And then I get a whole lot of like stickers and all kinds of buttons and pins and challenge coins. And a lot of you guys try to send me or give me stuff that, like, I don't know what the heck a lot of this stuff is. And we're going to have a couple of those. The first one was this Guardians of, let's see, Community Guardians, Service and Integrity, and this is the Accountability, Honor, I can't read that. Hold on. Yeah, very, very cool challenge coin. I was like, okay, I love that. So that was great. But then another guy handed me this, and so this one I may have to read if we don't get it because it's pretty tight. But this is where is it? This is the United States Cyber Command challenge coin. So, yeah, I got that one as well. And he's like, I can't really tell you what we do. And I said, yeah, that's okay. I don't really want to know. I'll get myself in trouble. Southern West Virginia Amateur Radio Association, thank you. And then I got this one, which is like, oh, buddy, I know that's probably something that I can't know anything about. So who knows what that is? Yeah, this was just sitting next to, a box in the middle of the swap meet. I just picked it up. That's all. Nobody handed it to me or anything. But yeah, a number of other stickers from friends and everybody out there. It was really cool. POTA Power, the POTA Power couple was there. Bug Life, and that's still one of my favorites. $20 is $20. The Baofeng sticker, which is pretty funny. And a couple of other things. But going back to what Gordo was talking earlier about his friend that he did an activation with, mentioning all those Elecraft radios. Elecraft had this sticker, which I thought was pretty neat. This was Wayne's take on the periodic table of elements. So I thought that's kind of cool. That's a number of the Elecraft radios that they have on their little periodic table, which is, yeah, it's pretty witty. I thought that was pretty fun. So yeah, that's basically what I came home with. Not the craziest haul, but definitely kind of more than I expected. Which is, that's kind of what happens when you go to Hamvention, right? No, and I'll come back over here so I can show you. So we got a situation that I've never seen happen at a Hamfest. Well, I should say more like Dayton Hamfest. The amount of people there, or maybe it was just the amount of people using data, clogged up the network something vicious. So we couldn't even live stream. I ultimately just ended up recording a booth walk and then I uploaded it, which was great. People were still very kind in the comments, and they were just happy to kind of see the whole show as we normally do. But I was able to record it at a much higher resolution, so it seemed to do really well. People really liked it. So I shot the rest of my videos all high resolution and uploaded it, and it was great. It all worked out really well. Yeah, there was a number of people that all tried to live stream, and we just couldn't. We could not live stream. It was impossible. I've never seen anything like that before.
So what, you guys are just using the fairgrounds Wi-Fi when you get there, and that's the data you're getting, or
no? Actually, we tried AT&T and T-Mobile and Verizon, and
okay,
I use all that traditionally. Is just what I use. I just use whatever I can get data on, whosever phone I can tether to. That's one of my admins or a friend. I'll just use.
So you're saying all the networks were that stressed out?
All the networks were just saturated. It was
That's
crazy. Yeah.
Not surprised.
What worked out perfectly, though, was Amateur Radio, APRS, and Meshtastic. Meshtastic, thanks to an update from the folks at Meshtastic, they made a Hamvention specific firmware that tuned all the little devices to quickly squawk their beacons and their messages much faster than they normally do. And so we were getting 300 plus nodes all on the air at one time, being able to communicate back and forth, which is absolutely amazing. I want to remind everybody, because I see a ton of people saying strap a Starlink to your back. The problem, anyone try Starlink? The problem is I'm walking around the rooms, the big metal buildings. Starlink doesn't work so well inside a building, guys.
Nope.
Yeah, Cyber got it exactly. So unfortunately, that's not really an option. But I'll go ahead and spoil the beans on this a little bit. Tomorrow evening, assuming I can get out of work appropriately timed, I'm going to meet up with a buddy at Dockweiler State Beach outside of El Segundo, California, and we are going to test Starlink live stream with a new radio doing a Parks on the Air activation. So tune in for that tomorrow. Should be.
I'm interested. And is it the Starlink, or is it Starlink Mini?
I think it might be a mini. So.
Okay.
we'll see how it goes. So everybody asking me, do you have latency issues, any of that stuff? Tune in tomorrow and you tell me. I don't know. I've never used them really. I tried one time, but that was years ago when the constellation was still pretty young. So we'll see. Yeah, tune in tomorrow and we'll give it a shot.
We love ours. We
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, because you've live
Absolutely.
streamed with the Starlink
Yes.
on this
Yep.
program.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yep. That a year ago I did. Yeah, it's super fantastic and it's super fast. And it's sometimes it is over the weekend. That's our only communication. If we didn't, there's no self service where we go at all. So not bad. Any questions in the chat from anybody?
Oh, I
Let me
didn't see.
I didn't see anything. Just lots of comments. Yes, love the minis. Echo Link. How does
Yeah.
that?
I didn't echo link. I didn't. Nobody was echo linking. So Cyber, remember, I've live streamed it at Hamvention every year I've gone. So I've used AT&T for that every time, and I've not had a problem. This is the first year we had a problem. So I think it's just the amount of data.
I think that this is me thinking out loud of what I could do here in my own county is that the Dayton Club needs to reach out to their emergency manager and get a cow, not the kind that gives you beef. So I think something like that, and they could test out maybe their emergency approach and their emergency response, and that would be a great test of its services to cover 35,000 people with a cow.
Michael, who Michael Coulter has been on the show many times. His RV is right at the entrance. It's kind of fun because he kind of waves at everybody when they're coming in. But I usually will take some time out of the weekend to just go sit with him in his RV and hang out for a while. And we were talking for quite a while about the data and what was going on. And he talked about getting a cow set up, and there was some issue with that. They attempted to do it, and they weren't able to make it happen. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know what happened. I don't know the state of their network, but I do want to point out to everybody, if you go to Hamvention, you can see the cell tower. There's like literally a tower, and it's not that far away. So we're line of sight directly, and still had a tremendous loaded data rate. It was just a ton of people congesting it, I think, more than anything.
Wow. Yep, that sounds about right. But that tells you what happens if 35,000 people are in like a football stadium. What happens? Those kind of things. Think about it. Josh, anything else?
Let's see. Ham Radio John, I did get a Hamvention pin. It is on my little chest rig bag that I always wear, and I think I got through the rest of the questions. So yes, no, I'm all set. Thank you, Amanda.
They would milk that cow for all it's worth.
I would, for all that data. I would. I'll tell you what.
That sweet, creamy data.
Oh, yes.
I always
personally
prefer
never
unpasteurized data.
They
Well, yes,
deploy
of
them a
course.
lot here in Colorado for wildfires and stuff like that. And I don't know their reliability or when I've never seen it in use. Let's put it that way. I just know about how it works in theory. So,
Yes.
okay, let me share my screen here. We're going to go over
Okay.
ham it or can it.
Oh boy.
So everybody in the chat, we want to hear your thoughts. Is this a ham
Yes,
it,
this
can
is
it, or what am it?
This is totally open discussion tonight. Let me
Put
find
my
the
glasses
right-
back on
Oh, you better.
so I can see these things. My old man glasses.
Sorry, this is so terrible when I have like 16 monitors here.
No problem. You're getting it going. I'll wait a second as it pops up.
Oh, I can
wait,
see
it's-
that
I
big.
see it. I
Nice.
see it.
Okay.
There it is.
All right. Not a doomsday advocate prepper, but every ham should test their station off grid. No mains, no internet, no computer scenario once in a while. Run on battery or solar. By the way, I'm just going to interrupt myself here. If you're a ham, you're already kind of a prepper. Totally.
Yeah.
Yes, you are. You're still a prepper. Run on battery, solar, log contacts offline, ensure comms over HF, VHF. Who are my hosts do that?
Every time I go, Parks on the Air, right? Or Summits on the Air. Or we got Field Day coming up, everybody. And Field Day is a great
Right.
time to practice this. I will say that Field Day is amazing with a club, but that may not be what an emergency situation looks like for you, the individual. Not necessarily Amanda or a large coordinated group, but
Yep.
Everybody should privately test their equipment at home.
Yes.
A small rig is just fine if the power's out. So is a 100-watt base station. So try all those things. Make sure you got a running station.
I honestly had to take a step back and think about the last time we ran anything independently just on battery. And we have done it just camping, but we had all the equipment in place and ready for it. Just being put on the spot and saying, I need you to get on the air in 15 or 20 minutes, battery, no internet, no nothing. What can you do?
Oh, I like it. Yeah.
I have
Yeah,
not,
yeah.
we have not done that. And we should practice
Something to
that.
think about for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely. Everyone in chat, shout out. Gordo, what about you?
Yep. I'll be portable, possibly maritime mobile for field day.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
like
There you
that.
go. That'll be fun.
And again, Josh kind of brought up field day. Field day is, this might be an unpopular comment, but it's kind of no longer an emergency check because we plan it out so far in advance, right? The clubs do, and everything is put in place, and it's no longer a test of your skills for 24 hours of emergency operating situations. And it's now turned into more of a competition and a fun time and all of those things, which I like. I'm very competitive on field day.
Winter Field Day, though, has a lot more
Yeah, it
preparedness
really
minded.
does.
Even their challenges are geared around all kinds of modes of communication. That's their whole mission statement.
And definitely mostly all based portable. So like the home operation is just like, meh, okay. But yeah, give me 10 minutes and I can be up. Okay, 10 minutes it is, QRP here. Okay, let's move on. This one was, what was this comment? Get your ham radio license and set up one of the big ass antennas.
Oh, wow, we're going there.
Okay, so
Oh, here we go. Uh-huh.
who do you think you are to give false information like this? It just,
Who do you think you are? Yeah, that doesn't work.
People, this is bad information. This is not true in
Very
any sense
bad
of the matter. No, your antennas are not protected by the FCC and the HO. Just sorry about the expletive there, you guys. I meant to blur it out, but I think everyone can deal.
Yeah, we can survive.
Okay, so really, this is absolutely just false. Most HOAs do not allow that. Now, the ARRL is trying to put in some initiatives and get some bills passed that might have more inclusivity on HOAs to have you required to be allowed at least one antenna for emergency communications. But no, Elliot, you are wrong. Sorry. And I didn't look at any of the replies.
I have a feeling that Elliot's avatar is an actual unretouched photo of Elliot. Could be wrong.
That's a good call.
Probably am, but could be.
He's of the actually crowd.
Okay. Anyhow, that was fun. Okay. This is just kind of a new standalone GPS for hiking purposes, and it said ham radio, but they're trying to sell it on the fact that it's not connected to anything, but isn't that kind of just like a Garmin GPS unit?
That's what it seems like, because it's saying it tracks, saves, and finds waypoints. Well, that's fine if you get yourself out of the field, but what happens if you can't? What do you do then? You need a transmitter of some kind.
Yeah, and I went to see the article, and there's a bunch of ads popped up and stuff, and like, I don't know, it was like a blog kind of, and I would have liked to know more about what they were thinking on how involving it in amateur radio, things like that, but I didn't see it. So if anyone knows about this, shout out, and it would be interesting how they think they can integrate it and how it is different than what units are already out there for your purposes. Once again, Josh, you're with the Scouts now because of your son and stuff. So you're probably familiar with GPS Garmin. Do you use yours a lot?
Yes, I have a Garmin InReach. I will almost always test it when I go outdoors, like text my wife just as a kind of test message. Hey, is this thing working kind of thing early on in the trip. Obviously, I have ham radio with me, and cell phone coverage has improved substantially. So between all three of those things, I have a pretty good plan. And because I'm a scout, or a retired scout, if you will, I always have my whistle with me as well.
And your compass. I always, when I first got into APRS stuff, I was trying to sell search and rescue teams on using APRS and always having a ham on their team and integrating APRS. And come to find out, I mean, it's not what you would want it to be with new garments and things like that. You can pinpoint and do all these waypoints, and when they're searching for somebody, like maybe a lost hiker, they can mark where they picked up boot prints or dog tracks because they were with their dog or something like that.
Mhm.
And APRS doesn't have those functions where you can just send back that information and mapping and things like that. So
Oddly
anyhow.
enough, Meshtastic does have a lot of that stuff. And
Really?
yeah, there's a number of things you can do that will do track back kind of things and exchange locations as long as you can get to them. But that's another cool thing is because it meshes, you kind of just need someone in proximity of the dog or whomever it is to be able to mesh the network. I wouldn't say that that's a good solution for someone hiking alone type of thing or in a small group, but in your case, like an emergency crew that's maybe out search and rescue or whatever, having a small Meshtastic dongle with a decent antenna would be a good idea.
Well, it would be a lot lighter than some of the APRS units to
Oh,
bring
yeah.
around, like that was heavy bionics and things like that. So, all right, moving on. What else do I have? Oh, so I kind of thought this was an appropriate question because first of all, it's really major tornado season. No one here has been impacted, somebody that has been impacted by a tornado or severe weather this last week or two. Anyhow, long story short, this person wanted to know if they still make weather radios or how they can get alerts, things like that. So I was thinking, I don't have a weather radio because I have ham radio. So I can and I have a radio that will just tune in to listen to the National Weather Service,
Mhm.
but I don't have one. But I think other people do. Chat room, you shout out if you have a weather radio. Don has one that he uses or still has in his shack. What do you got?
I keep this actually right next to the bed. It's in a Radio Shack that I actually won at a ham fest. You can see it is.
Oh yeah,
it's battery
proper-
operated. So yeah, and it has the same alerts and everything else, and a big telescopic antenna. There's actually, I just noticed this. There's an external antenna connection here on the back, and an alarm out if you want to, I guess, do a bigger speaker. But yeah, this has woken me up on many of an occasion when we've had tornado warnings and things in the night. It's got a very loud little siren on it, and so yeah, it stays plugged in to the power next to the bed, and it does have the battery backup as well. So yep, this is if you can find one of these Radio Shack jobs. Of course, Radio Shack is
gone.
There's one store now or something, but
yeah,
there are a lot of other companies that still make these weather. Midland, yeah, there's a lot of companies that make them, but this one just happens to be Radio
makes
Shack.
A whole group of
A whole bunch of them. Yep.
What do you use, Gordo? For weather
I have
alerts?
a Midland, and it works great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I think there's probably a point there that, like in Dawn's case with that radio, that's something that you could have an external DC jack and you could leave it on, and
I do.
And yeah, and then that would be valuable for weather alerts. I was thinking to myself when Amanda asked this question, well, sure, I have an HT and it has weather alerts, and that's great. But we don't leave our HTs on and just charging. That's not actually good for the batteries in most cases. So having a devoted weather radio that's on and has the weather alert, enabled, that's actually a really good idea. Yeah.
The AA for battery backup that I just changed recently because I've got a full bars on that. So yeah.
Yeah.
It stays plugged up right next to the bed, and it will wake you up.
Yeah. So
I guess I'm just used to and because people don't watch.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It looks like
there's probably like one company that makes all of these that are all branded from different OEMs or whatever. They're probably all the same inside, but yeah, this one is. I've had this one for a number of years. I won it at a ham fest. It was a door prize at a ham fest. I don't know how many years ago, but it's been a while. It was after Radio Shack went away, so it was backstock. And yeah, I was very, very pleased to win this. I was like, I had my eye on that. And I'm like, oh, cool! I won the weather radio. You down here, it seems like Tornado Alley has shifted. It's more down to the south and a little bit farther away from places like Oklahoma and Nebraska. So, I mean, there's been a ton of tornadic activity up around Kentucky and Ohio and Tennessee this week. hundreds of them actually. So yeah, if you're anywhere, well, I start to say anywhere where there's bad weather. Well, that's basically everywhere. So yeah, you need to have one of these.
We had 4 tornadoes in Colorado this last week too.
Yeah,
We have
you
twos.
guys not really known for tornadic activity.
Not
in
a
Colorado.
lot.
Mm-mm.
Not a lot. So
We
But
get most of
anyhow-
our tornadoes down here in the south in the wintertime. So
I did find
January or
a the Midland weather radio that was mentioned, I think, from Gordo. It looks like it's a pretty inexpensive, $50, not bad.
yeah,
So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's not bad
that
at
would
all.
be that would work for you. There you go. I'll drop a link to
Definitely.
that.
and you can probably, if you go on eBay or someplace, you can probably still find you remember the cube radios that Radio Shack had back in the 80s?
Yes, I do.
They used to have the weather. They used to have the weather cube
the weather cube.
as well.
or
So, yeah,
just go to a garage sale. I bet a lot of
garage,
people-
yeah,
Yes.
you'll find them at garage sales too. But the only bad thing about the old vintage ones is, someone may have put batteries in there from, like 1984, and that was, now it's 2025, so it's probably all corroded. But yeah,
corroded
but,
and like all like blown up and like junky.
I
and
would
all
say
that.
this is kind of like this would be kind of like close enough to life support where it would probably be better to buy a new one.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
All right, let's move on. Josh, this is right up your alley. Have you seen this?
yeah. Hey, that's
This is
Kyle.
so cute. Yeah. And I
AA0Z.
guess
That's
Kyle,
my buddy. Yeah.
he did some forums, I think, at Hamvention this last weekend. Anyhow, I just
certainly
saw
did.
these and I was like super cute. It made me want to get out my old BlackBerry, which we have kept every single one of our cell phones for the last 25 years. So I have a pink BlackBerry. It's so
Oh.
cute. And I was thinking, how can we integrate that so we could use that for doing LoRa stuff? I don't know. Somebody else smarter than me has to figure it out.
Well,
but
so this is proper LoRa chat. It looks like, which is slightly different from Meshtastic, but it's a similar thing. It's a two-way pager, right? Line of sight pager.
Mm.
Love it.
I loved it. I thought it was cute. All right, what else? Who does this person think they are? There are way weirder people that have way weirder hobbies than this.
I'm pretty weird
can't.
though. So
Are
Yeah.
you?
yeah, I'm pretty weird.
Wait
Yeah,
a second.
I'm-
So I know
I'm-
that Gordo and I are totally normal,
Well,
right?
I don't know. I'm
Chat
definitely a
room?
nerd.
Chat room, help me out here.
well, listen, nature loves a balance, so I guess you two are the normal ones, and just Josh and I are the odd men out. We'll be the weirdos. That's fine.
And
We can do
Jeff is
that.
totally a weirdo.
Okay, I knew I liked him for some reason. Yeah,
Yeah, we prefer the
I
term
balance
differently
him out.
normal. We're differently normal is
Yeah,
what Richard
that's
says
it.
in the chat. So
Right.
that's he nailed it, I think.
differently normal.
That's right.
Anyhow, just dandy. Your post was not just dandy. I disagree. What else? Oh, Don, I posted your post. You
Oh, yeah,
sent
there
this
are-
to
yeah.
us, and evidently 6 meters is a hoppin'. So
It
everyone
was. That was
hopefully,
a few days ago. Yeah.
I am normal. Thank you, Frank. Yeah. So anyone else, shout out if you've been on the Magic Band. But
That was fun.
I realize that our next episode is going to be 600, but it will be, we need to squeeze in talking about the VHF contest coming up. So
Mhm.
we'll try to get that done. All right. That's it. That's all I have tonight.
Excellent.
Yes.
Well, those were all. Well, no, I guess we had one. Can it? You got it. Can it? No, I guess we got two. We got an
Two.
We
We
got an
had two
actually
can
guy with the bad
Yeah.
information, and then
Yeah.
They were, yeah, right.
Yeah.
The other guy
Elliot
with the
and-
weirdest weirdos. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, soap carvers. They're weird.
oh,
We're not weird.
But they're clean.
that's well. So then, what do you think of scrimshaw?
I don't even know what that is.
So scrimshaw was the
Oh,
old thing,
that's
like they'd
cool.
take walrus teeth and they'd carve the
Yeah.
nautical things. They were like what the sailors were bored on a ship. They
Okay, well,
bone
you know,
carving.
I-
teeth, walrus husks, and
me,
Yeah, and, like,
animal lover, would
elephant,
be like, "How
husks, yeah,
dare
like
you use
carving,
somebody's
yeah.
husks for that?" So that would be where I would stand
Okay,
on that. But
okay.
wood whittling.
Is whittling weird?
No,
Oh, whittling's cool. I think whittling's cool.
but
Right,
when you
being
when you
from
start using
Oklahoma.
cubes of butter and soap, I'm like,
I think you've just
Okay.
offended half of the Midwest now, Amanda.
You know what? It's kind of like FT8. FT8 and D
all
Star,
they're eating their
just
cheese
another
curds.
mode. The other stuff, it's just another medium.
There you go.
See?
Anyhow, okay. It's fun to be weird.
Strangely
people.
odd, I'm the
Embrace
voice
your
of reason
weirdness.
in this,
and,
That's right.
argument.
Embrace your weirdness.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, we're done. We're done with the show for tonight, and it's exactly 60 minutes. If you can
Oh,
believe
yeah.
that. I'm in shock right now. But let's go over some nuts first before we wrap it up. Here we got 40 meters, 71.92, and 14 Charlie for the D-Star net. And I don't know what's criminal. Scriminal. That's
Scriminal.
criminal.
Scrimshaw.
Okay.
See?
Mm. Okay, some of you actually are really weird.
Yes, I'm telling you. Yes.
Shocker.
Maybe this is just like a come to Jesus moment for me, that I'm realizing that I'm in with a really weird crowd, and maybe I'm not okay with that. I don't know. Figure it out later.
Have you met us?
You know what? This is why I used to drink. I know it now.
That was it. That's it.
And why I continue to drink. But not tonight.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is Memorial Day weekend, everybody. So please remember what Memorial Day weekend is for, and
Yes, absolutely.
think about all of our soldiers that we have lost fighting for our country and our freedom. So thank you. Spend it well. Be safe. Enjoy your family. Hopefully get some time off and get outdoors and do some POTA. That's
Yep. Right.
according to Gordo. So
2
There you go.
weeks. 2 weeks.
2 weeks,
Episode
600.
600.
Wow, that's
amazing.
amazing.
Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. We have a lot of fun with this show here. We appreciate you watching. 73.
Good night, everyone. Get your Young Ham of the Year entries in.
That's
Yes.
right.